leadership, some posit, is never really tested until there is adversity, an unexpected social agitation or an emergency, be it natural disasters or health emergencies. These developments often strengthen the cord between leadership and followership, as all hands naturally push the plow to destination. Today we will examine the synergies springing up in the political terrain to protect Nigeria and Nigerians. Also in this package, a comrade speaks on a 24 hours like no other at the APC Secretariat. Plus, a cheering story from Borno State after years of conflict and displacement. These and more on today's edition of Political Update, NT's eclectic political ensemble with a third eye on the nation's political scene. I am Fisai Ogunfi. Welcome. Barely 24 hours after the Jabi High Court ruled that APC Chairman Adams Oshiomhole should step aside pending the outcome of the substantive suit, Federal High Court in Kano has ordered that status quo be maintained in the APC helmsmanship face-off. Let's hear from our correspondent Muhammad Rabiu.
A Federal High Court Abuja Wednesday suspended Adams Oshiomhole from parading himself as APC National Chairman. Another High Court in Kano this Thursday ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission not to deal or recognize anybody than Adams Oshiomhole as National Chairman of the ruling APC, pending the determination of the substantive matter before it. The court restrained parties in the suit from giving effect to purported suspension of the chairman from Ward 10, Esako West of Edo State on the 2nd of November 2019. Counsel of the applicant, John Mary Chukukasi, moved the ex parte motion. The case has been adjourned to 8 April 2020 for hearing.
Meanwhile, the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC, Comrade Adams Oshiomhole, says a suspension at the ward level is null and void. Adams Oshiomhole said this while addressing State House correspondents after an audience with President Muhammadu Buhari.
I thought that I have a duty to brief Mr. President as the overall leader of our party about this development. I am not the best chairman in the world, but I believe I've given my all. I emphasize my all, even at the expense of my family welfare and family life, to support my party and to ensure that I work sometimes almost 20 hours a day to ensure that I provide the desired leadership that APC need. Whatever you do, those who want to fight you will fight you. But I know that my tenure will be defined by God, not by man. And I worry more about what I will be remembered for when I was chairman rather than how long I was chairman. He who God stands with, no man born of a woman can bring him down.
Now, we wanted a legal practitioner to help us untangle this legal conundrum, but it's still been expected. You will, however, agree with me that there is a global emergency which supersedes any political posturing at the moment. COVID-19 is at the front burner on the planet, and its containment is top priority. Here, medical proficiency and political will is crucial. Chairman House Committee on Health, Dr. Tanko Sununu, joined us earlier with an update.
One thing is certain that no country will say is ever completely ready to face the calamity. You can see how far what is the financial implication, the various areas that the diseases have so far touched. So in Nigeria, just like any other country, we are also doing our own best. And let me say, as far as the preparation in Nigeria is concerned as of today, there is need for much improvement. But you cannot also deny the fact that much has been done. Especially the main anchor in terms of the fight is Center of Disease Control, Nigeria Center of Disease Control. I can tell you vividly that in the last few months, the center has seen a lot of upliftment and they have done much. They have done much in terms of building capacity. You can see when the disease just came, people thought the country is not ready and doesn't have the capacity to confirm the case. But within the shortest possible time, in a few hours, Nigeria was able to confirm the cases, we are able to isolate the patient, and we are also able to fast track in terms of contact tracing. Though the contact tracing couldn't have been 100% up to today, but I want to tell you that they have done much. And not only that, there is also capacity in terms of getting the updated information down to the healthcare practitioners so that they can improve on their services. The confidence of healthcare workers is being built so that they cannot, if you consider the last time when we had the issue of Ebola in the country, immediately it is mentioned people in hospitals started running. But now people are volunteering. They are coming out. They are saying, look, do you know that the COVID virus is something that we can also prepare ourselves and face it? There is also a confidence built in that direction. And not only that, in terms of information dissemination, the Nigerian Center of Disease Control has developed information pamphlet for practitioners, for the general public, and they continuously keep on disseminating such information to this thing. And they have also improved much in terms of public engagement.
The South-South Governors Forum met in Asaba with security at the top of the agenda. Let's hear details of their deliberations now.
Top on the agenda of the meeting of the South-South governors held behind closed door is the issue of security and economy as disclosed by the chairman of the forum, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa.
I've agreed as a region that there is a need to have a regional security outfit, and we have mandated the Brace Commission to begin to work out the details and to brief us at our next meeting, which is going to hold in Port Harcourt.
The forum also resuscitated the Brace Commission as part of the strategy of making the South-South region economically viable and vibrant.
The Brace Commission has established is to help us look into issues of regional economy and the needs to develop our region collectively instead of working as individual states.
The forum also agreed that the 13% derivation from the federal allocation should henceforth be first-line charge.
All right, joining us now is Usani Uguru-Sani, former Minister of Niger Delta Affairs. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Let's start from that region and look at it holistically in terms of the politics, in terms of the needs. Let's look at some of the needs in the area. I've been, superintendent over the Niger Delta, ministry, Niger Delta Affairs. What are the main challenges in that region? We've been a few, discussions about forensic audit, for instance, of the NDDC, issues of, projects not completed, use disenchanted and all that. What are the main problems and what are the things we need to quickly do to bring that, region back to its vital best?
Thank you very much for this question. But I think enumeration in an attempt to answer this question will take us a very long time based on in-depth knowledge of a place I've administered. I'll just answer it briefly by telling you that the region needs everything, and everything is required to solve the problems. The region needs peace. The region needs basic amenities. The region needs orientation like every other Nigerian. The region needs honesty of application of Nigerian resources that are allocated to the region. The region also needs cohesion with other parts of Nigeria. The region also needs understanding of the Nigerian state vis-a-vis the ethnicities and the nationalities that are basically minorities that form the region in relating with other parts of the sovereign nation. So if I begin to say they need water, they need this, they have got virtually nothing in the standard form. It's not because efforts are not there, but the negating factors against the efforts that are being made overwhelm the abilities that are standing on the platform of the efforts that are made to solve the problems that are existing. So virtually the region needs everything, because if you consider the contribution of the regions to what the region gets back, it's not a matter of blaming Mr. A or B, but it will suggest that right from probably the days of independence, the region has faced neglect, or even preceding the days of independence, from when oil exploration started from the place, the region has suffered serious neglect.
So let's look at some of the first things we may begin to scrutinize, and that's the issue of youth empowerment in terms of perhaps accelerating the process of making sure that youth in the region are gainfully engaged. What would be some of the solutions you would prefer that is long-lasting and sustainable?
Well, you see, some of these questions, to answer them satisfactorily,
we may need to.
We will need some philosophical insight, which will tax the brains and intelligence of anybody in applying them to the reality of the situation. It's not as if programs of youth empowerment have not been going on. But how do we apply whatever we tag youth empowerment in what we aspire to become or to achieve? Misapplication of resources are there. And the misunderstanding of what is empowerment is also there. Because when we talk about youth empowerment in the modern day development syntax, we mean that ability to get self-employed or stand on your own, or at least be sustainable and be less dependent. And so when the efforts are geared toward that way, and then the recipients themselves do not appreciate it in that context, they think they owe nothing to anybody, not even to themselves. And that is why it is a cycle that continues to run and run and run as if we are static. So getting into this, probably one needs to be writing some features on it, not on brief interviews such as this one. Let's
give it this way, because you've provided solutions in the past, you've tried to also provide political leadership. So what are your frustrations?
The first frustration, not just mine, of the Nigerian political space and player, is the concept of stomach infrastructure. So no matter what you do to sustain a man's tomorrow, he expects you to fill his pocket rather than secure the environment for his tomorrow's existence. That's the first frustration. The second frustration is the misunderstanding of what politics should stand for. In my view, politics creates a platform for people to occupy places, to make decisions, to govern society. And knowing this, it means as a political figure, your decision for 1 minute can affect generations for 50 years. Therefore, honesty and sincerity are the hallmarks that are required in the political space to enable people dispense with what good they have as intents for the people to benefit from it and grow society and also develop society. It's not enough to talk of growth, but it takes social policies also to translate growth to development. All this is lacking. It's not enough to hold PhD and occupy a big position, but to understand how one policy transforms the resources to the benefit to sustain another policy.
You agree with me that, okay, if you have politics, if you have concepts, if you have the willpower as well as the integrity to go through a process, you must start from somewhere.
Sure.
So under the current scenario, for instance, where would you start in terms, hypothetically, where would you start?
Well, you won't even be talking hypothetically. We are talking realistically because I've practiced it.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Yes. Where we have started has been to say a young man come, for instance, on the amnesty program that has been taking place, people are getting stipends. And you know that in the economics of investment, savings translate, earnings with savings translate to investment. The scale notwithstanding. So if one has been collecting stipends of 65,000 naira for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and he has not found the necessary to make savings at least to become a welder, then he will never develop. And on a medium-term scale, so to say, we have empowered people with sums of 1 million naira, 500,000 naira, 350,000 naira, depending on the vocation on which you are trained. Yet, a small number have found it necessary to go and establish little things to be independent of any further bread on the table. So this
support, as people call it.
Yeah, of course, support. This will mean that all that we need is a reorientation to understand what government policy is in favoring individuals for tomorrow's sustenance.
All right, let's move away from that region and go to another region that has been ravaged by conflict. And it's a good and cheering story coming from Borno. After years of conflict and displacement, the people of Borno, especially those most traumatized by insurgency, are experiencing something close to normalcy. A key part of this development is the building of educational infrastructure and enrollment of teachers for the pupils that have been scattered across the land. Chief Whip of the House of Representatives, who represents Munguno, Mate, and Ngazai Federal Constituency, shared his experiences and government's thinking in rejuvenating ailing structures in that zone.
You know, as a result of the Boko Haram insurgency, of which Borno State, and more particularly my constituency, is the epicenter of the Boko Haram insurgency, it brought about huge displacement of people as a result of the conflict, to the extent that majority of our people are living in IDP camps, or some are living outside the country as refugees. And now, as a result of the gallantry exhibited by our military, which brought about tremendous success in degrading the Boko Haram insurgents, people have returned back to their communities from the internally displaced people's camps, and even some of the refugees that are staying either in Niger or Cameroon have started coming back to their communities that are hitherto displaced. Because, as you know, pre-2015, I cannot even in the wildest of my dreams think of going to my hometown of Monguno, because it is effectively under the control of Boko Haram insurgents that effectively excise it from the territorial integrity of Nigeria. They have hosted their flags and they are administering their laws. And as a result of, as I told you earlier on, the gallantry, the zeal, determination, as well as the enthusiasm and leadership given by the political leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, though there is not total normalcy, has not yet returned, but compared to pre-2015, there is tremendous success. And you know, human population grows at geometric rate, while corresponding increase in our infrastructure is at arithmetic progression. So as a result of that, there is huge need for returning these people back to school, because of the fact that they have now come back to start or pick the pieces of their lives and then start a normal life. And because of the huge growth in the population, mega schools were built, and then enrollment has commenced. And not only enrollment, there is going to be school feeding with a view to bringing about retention in the school. And then there is going to be mass recruitment of teachers so that they can teach these people. And the government decided to deliberately embark upon this Marshall Plan in the education sector, conscious of the fact that the genesis behind the Boko Haram insurgency is lack of education. The Boko Haram insurgents capitalize on the number of uneducated people, use it as a fertile ground to recruit these people, and then committed their nefarious activities and wreak havoc on the Nigerian nation state. So in order to avert this situation, this ugly scenario, government embarked upon the deliberate policy of enrolling about 50,000 out of school children back to school. One, to cope the genesis of the Boko Haram insurgency, which is illiteracy, and then also to give education, because education is the bedrock of any developmental aspiration of any given society.
All right, before we go for the home run, the former Minister of Nigerian Health Affairs still here, Usani Uguru Usani, are beginning to bring back the pieces there, and there are some bold initiatives to make sure that that part of the country is rejuvenated completely in terms of the structures.
Well, we have heard the story. You just made a statement of fact.
Any comment?
Oh, that's fine enough. We appreciate that.
Meanwhile, before I let you go, I have two main questions. We, in 2020, wanted to bring a report basically on electronic voting for the Ondo and Edo elections. What are your thoughts on that? Would it perhaps reduce the incidences that we discussed in our last discussion in terms of, being able to have the sanctity of the ballot?
Yeah, for me, and I think any well-meaning Nigerian will support any process that guarantees transparent voting with minimal interference of human factor. Nonetheless, you know the character of Nigerians. As they are putting the bill forward and practicing the technology to guarantee that, some of us are practicing how to circumvent that. But if we are able to get it foolproof, I believe every Nigerian will be happy, because once an election is acceptable based on transparency, then litigations are minimal, and greater confidence will that government have, or will the people have in that government. And therefore, there will be space for less acrimony and then greater prospects of development.
Before I let you go, you are a member of the All Progressive Congress.
Yes.
2 court cases concerning the helpsmanship. What is the status, and what is the mood in camp?
Well, the mood for APC members as well as all Nigerians is virtually the same, because knowing that the APC as a party is a platform on which the government emerged or evolved, what affects the party virtually affects the country, because the government has a bearing to that. But having 2 court cases, of course, I have not read the judgments. Again, I do not know whether a corresponding court as another on the same level of status is able to cancel out or impose a ruling on another. But in all, there is something that's very important. Whichever party any opinion is leaning on, we have now learned to know that those who despise the court still depend on the court. And so the judiciary must learn a lesson from this, to know that if the country must stand right, they must be just and fair. Otherwise, we will accuse them of being the ones that are destroying the democracy and not the politicians as they allege.
Uguru Usani, thank you for coming. From my layman's perspective, I was just say, we shall see. That has been Political Update for today. Join us again on Tuesday for a fresh package. Don't forget, Nigerian Television Authority, dedicated towards giving you the very best of news, reviews, previews, and interviews. My name is Fisai Ogunfi, urging you to stay tuned to the Nigerian Television Authority while you enjoy the very best of the weekend. Bye-bye now.